Before we get to our main program, I want to give you a little update on the General Assembly. As you know, we only have a few more days left. They're scheduled to get out next week. And luckily, of all the things we were pretty excited about, I don't think any of them are dead yet. And as any good lobbyist will tell you, nothing's truly ever dead in the General Assembly until they throw the confetti after sine die. So we think, depending on what happens over these next few days, it could be sort of a ho-hum session, or it could be very positive, because there are a lot of really good ideas that I hope they're going to act upon. Let me talk about a few. Obviously, the tax reform, we commented on our blog last night about that. We're disappointed that it was not as bold as we would have liked. We think that significant income tax reform is going to be critical to make us competitive with many other states. Weren't able to get that this year for many reasons. The bill that was put forth this week has some good, some bad. The energy tax exemption is very positive. It's already led to some good job creation. It truly is pro-growth, and we think that is a net positive. And you can read what we have to say about that. Hopefully, next year, we will have the political will to do some truly comprehensive tax reform. In fact, one of the more significant things we could do in tax reform actually involves health care. And you're going to hear about that from Ron Bachman. I don't want to steal Ron's thunder today, but there are some significant things that we can do to put forth free market health care this session. Tax equity is one. If you're working for an employer that doesn't provide your insurance through the employer, you have to pay with your premium after tax. And that is a huge detriment to, discouragement to individuals who already are paying high premiums, and then they have to pay with after-tax dollars. Big reason why we have such a high rate of uninsured. People are making logical decisions. They can't afford the cost of that health insurance. Creating a high-risk pool is a free market rebuttal to the individual mandate. Multi-state marketplace, private exchanges. We have many of those in Atlanta, and Ron's going to talk about that. And one of the most exciting ideas we've heard about, we've talked about this concept for about 15 years. Newt Gingrich has talked about it, Brenda Fitzgerald, about our medical malpractice system, which is not very effective, not working, has not improved patient safety. It adds, by some estimates, 26% of the health care spending in our country is related to defensive medicine because of medical malpractice lawsuits. We believe we can move forward to a system that works much better for patients, enhances patient safety, and reduces costs. It's called the Patients Compensation System. Rick Jackson unveiled that in our legislative policy briefing last year. I believe there's going to be a study committee on that this summer, and next year we truly have a chance to be a leader. And if we pass this, I think it's very similar to welfare reform that came out of Wisconsin. This easily could spread throughout the states. So a very positive development. In education, I mentioned how excited we are about that. If everything passes the way we think, as of next year, a child in rural Georgia who wants to go to Georgia Tech, needs to take physics, but doesn't have a physics teacher in their high school, will be able to go online to the state clearinghouse and have a choice of 5 or 6 high-quality providers of online instruction. Could be from Gwinnett County's virtual school, Cobb or Forsyth, could be K-12, could be the state virtual school. The money will follow the child's selection, the accountability will be taken care of, and the child will be able to move at their own pace. And this truly has the ability to transform education. And it's not just online. There's a certified teacher at the other end, and it'll be a blended learning model where there will also be a teacher in the classroom where that child is. So it's not just a computer. A lot of people miss that. Huge opportunities to really take teachers away from this rote giving lectures and trying to explain things to 30 different kids and putting them into a much higher valued position of inspiring kids and showing them how to apply their knowledge. So very excited about that. And in November, hopefully we will be voting to approve the constitutional amendment that has passed the legislature for charter schools, critical for digital learning and for choices in our state. And a lot of people in this room helped to get that bill passed, and we're very excited about that. And I think that was a very poor Supreme Court decision that needs to be reversed, and Attorney General Olens wrote a wonderful brief, if you ever want to read it, on why the legal reasoning was faulty and why we need to change that law. Criminal justice. As you know, we've been working on this for about 2 years. Georgia is poised. I think we will have some very significant criminal justice reform where we take nonviolent offenders, and instead of putting them all in prison, we find effective, less expensive alternative sentencing for them that actually is going to reduce the crime rate, reduce recidivism, and save money. Same thing is happening at the juvenile justice level for kids. Even more of a reason not to turn them into lifelong criminals. Very exciting, something we should have done many years ago. This is being smart on crime, not soft on crime. And we think it's a great opportunity to be responsible taxpayer dollars and actually improve the safety of our citizens. And finally, pension reform, something that some individuals have been working for about 15 years in Georgia. Looks like the employees' retirement system will be allowed and unshackled to be more flexible in their investments. According to a Commission for a New Georgia report, our investment returns were at the very bottom in the country compared to other public pension funds, and it's costing us literally hundreds of millions of dollars. And our pensions would be much better funded, and the rates would not have to go up, the contribution rates, if we had done a better job of our investment management. This gives our investment managers the freedom to diversify their assets, so that's a very positive development. Well, let me get to our main event. Notice the slide I have up here. We've all seen the graphs of our spending. It always goes up, 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 and deep into the future. And so the top line shows that same graph. This is from the Congressional Budget Office, their latest projections. This does not include interest. It's a lot scarier if you include interest. What this shows you, though, if you break it out into health care and everything else. Everything else is Social Security, defense, everything else the federal government does. If you'll notice that line, it starts going down, and over the years, it starts to decline. Gradually, but it declines. It's sustainable. Healthcare does not. That is the one thing. I think we all agree that the deficit in our debt is undermining our capacity as a nation. And it really can be placed right at the heels of healthcare. If we don't do something about healthcare, we're going to be in significant fiscal trouble. So I think that really highlights the topic of our subject today. Our first speaker is Attorney General Sam Olens. I've known Sam a long time, and he's county commission chair in Cobb County, did a great job there. He has been a champion of open government transparency. He's continued that in his role as Attorney General, fighting for, in the legislature, maybe update us on that, a bill that would encourage more open records and access to information in government, which is always a good thing. He also campaigned on Medicaid fraud, something that, you hear people that campaign on something, a lot of times they don't tend to get to it when they're actually elected, particularly not in their first year or so. Well, if you've read the press releases, Georgia has become very aggressive at cracking down on Medicaid fraud, and he's done a wonderful job with that. Also, Georgia is a party to the lawsuit on the federal health care reform. And as a part of that, Sam has been very involved. And we thought, with the Supreme Court getting ready to argue that case next week, something that is going to fundamentally affect the future of our country, we thought no better than Sam to come explain the case, what he thinks the critical arguments are, and the implications, or give us a preview of what's going to happen next week. I know we can't predict the outcome, so we can be a little more educated going into watching what happens next week. So without further ado, Sam?